Buckeyes battle cry. Yes, I got the stars and the stripes behind me tonight. Rob, you rocking the fresh Ohio State swag, man. That looks
Yeah,
great. It's
buddy.
vibrant. I'm loving it. Let's get to the biggest news of it all. We are not going to waste any time jumping right into the topic of the day.
Arch.
Jim Harbaugh left Michigan in
He
shambles.
he is gone, dude. He dipped. He said peace. He pulled a Pete Carroll trying to
He
avoid
did.
NCAA sanctions. And you know what? Harbaugh may be the second coach in history to not only win a national championship, but to win a Super Bowl as well. But the most important thing to look at is that he's definitely pulling Carroll. He's trying to dip from those
He's
sanctions.
dipping out before anything could possibly come down on him at Michigan. He wanted the immunity clause in his contract. Michigan, at the 11th hour, I heard, was trying to pull some strings to draw him in, make him sure to sign that 10-year contract. And he said, bye bye. I'm
Yeah.
gone.
So this is what I heard about the 11th hour thing. So
Yeah.
I like Michigan just wouldn't budge on the immunity thing.
They wouldn't budge.
They
Why
wouldn't
would
budge.
they?
They didn't put it on the table until talks got really really serious with Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. And I heard literally it was just too late. Like he was in his third negotiation about to close the deal, and then all of a sudden, Michigan just like, "Oh, here you go.
He's
We want
actually going to
immunity
leave.
clause on the table. We want to make you the highest paid coach in college football. We want to roll out the red carpet." But here's the thing, though: the Chargers beat them to it, and he is gone.
Bye bye. Start the 7 stages of grief now because it was denial, 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 all leading up through these contract negotiations. They couldn't believe their precious savior, Jim Harbaugh, was going to leave, and he did. He said, you know what? I did accomplish everything. Now, I do commend him because he did do what he came back to do. He did win the national title. Hats off to him. Respect,
Yeah.
whatever. It is a commendable job he did. But now he's leaving the cupboard bare because the recruiting has not been on par to reload. Michigan is not a team that's going to reload in 2024. They're going to rebuild in 2024. And I predicted dark days ahead, whether it's Sharon Moore who they produce or if it's somebody else they produce as head coach. I see a 3-loss season coming. What do you think, Rob?
I mean, I see a lot. I see a lot more coming than that, man. I think
Yep,
the
you're right.
going to absolutely hammer them with sanctions. I'm not talking about scholarship reductions,
Really?
bowl bans. I'm talking vacated wins. You know what? Fine. You know what? The NCAA president wants to say that, hey, Michigan won fair and square. It was obvious that this didn't have much of a impact on the wins. So they're not going to take away the national championship.
I don't
But
think they will.
I think no, I don't think they will. I think they're going to take away 2021, 2022, and that's pretty much it. So
They very well could. Let's get to the comment section here. We got a guy down in the chat, Can Do 32. He says, "Do you think it's smart on Jim's part to get out before he could have anything came about from the cheating scandal?" What do you think on that, Rob?
can you ask that question one more time?
Do you think it was smart for on Jim's part to get out before anything came down from the NCAA?
I don't know, man. Jim Harbaugh says he loves the University of Michigan. But here's the thing, though: if you really love the university, why? Like you would be staying through this. You'd be staying to help steer your program through these sanctions. So I don't know. Part of me thinks that Jim
What's up,
Harbaugh
buddy?
doesn't actually love University of Michigan. Jim Harbaugh came back to Michigan to make his way back to the NFL. Because you know what? People think like, oh, he got fired because of a bad record after a year. No, he got fired because he was in turmoil with the locker room. He was in turmoil with the ownership. And you know
In
what?
San Francisco, you're talking,
And
yeah.
San Francisco. So pretty much that's like being blacklisted. That's
Well,
being
he had a bad reputation in the NFL in terms of management. He had to rebuild his reputation back up. And the only way to do that was in college. And it was not
oh
going well
hold
record
on.
wise.
Hey, chef. So you say that he came back to Michigan, put you guys back on track, or did he come back to Michigan to put himself back on track on the map to make his return to the NFL? Are you sure about that? Because you know what? If it wasn't for Michigan, he would not be. I don't think he'd be able to make his way back. Who would have hired them after he got fired from the Chargers in the NFL? So you know what? He said,
From
you
the
know what?
49ers, yeah.
I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna go to my alma mater
He
and
definitely loves Michigan.
them
Like,
back.
don't get it twisted. Like, he loves his University of Michigan. He's very smarmy. He's brash. He's arrogant. Everybody knows this. He's kind of a weird dude. Everybody knows that too. But when it comes down to brass tacks, he is about himself. And the reason I say that is because he is dipping now when he could have been. Now, let me take this for a grain of salt. He is a Michigan legend already. He won a national title as a coach. He came very close as a player, losing to Iowa in 1985, the only loss of the season. Um, he's a Michigan legend. There's no question about it. But the fact remains that when things are getting dark, when his quarterback, JJ, his running back, Corum, leaves, he's taking the fastest exit out of Ann Arbor that he can get. He's
He
taking a
know
nice pay raise to do it, too.
he knows he's out of COVID miracles. When I say COVID miracles, dude, those players got a lot of years had a lot of years granted of eligibility. I mean, like Michigan was the oldest coach. I mean, Michigan was had the oldest players in college football this year. The oldest team
Oldest team.
in college football. He knows that they're not coming back. He knows he's going to have to rebuild and start all over. He knows that NCAA sanctions are more than likely on the way. And you know what?
Whatever that
Yeah,
means. Yes.
yeah, whatever that means. And you know what? He dipped. Gone.
So, I mean, that is the reality of the situation at this point. He did pull a Pete Carroll. He's going to dip before anything could possibly come down on him. That's why he wanted the immunity clause in the first place in his contract. Michigan wasn't willing to give it because no self respecting university would put that in any kind of a contract, not just with a football coach, but with any kind of employee, a professor, a janitor, or whatever. Like, you're not getting a no firing clause in your contract for any reason. Immunity is not happening.
I mean, dude, like in terms of the immunity in the clause, like you know how big of a headache all these ADs would have with all their head coaches. You know what head coaches would ask for after that point? It
Yeah.
would be obscene. It would be unprecedented to grant Harbaugh that clause. And you know what? The only reason they granted him that was to make it look, oh yeah, we did everything to keep
Try
Harbaugh.
their best to keep him.
No, it's called CYA.
We're gonna find out how good Sharon Moore is. I have a feeling he'll be born on first base. If that, he might be a bench pinch hitter. I don't know.
Hey,
We'll find
Chef,
out.
you beat us. They beat Ohio State with an interim coach, but he had Harbaugh's players, Harbaugh's system, what Harbaugh built. So you know what? It's
And
gonna be
Harbaugh's
3 or 4 years.
Harbaugh's game
Put
plan
up
too
or
for
shut
that
up
week.
more.
And he had Harbaugh's game plan for the week because let's not get it twisted. Harbaugh was coaching for the 6 other days of the week. So I think it's going to be Sharon Moore, Chef. I think it's going to be Sharon Moore because it's a little too late to hire outside, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. You might lure somebody because Michigan is a destination job, and you can pay good money. It's just the thing of the matter is you don't have any good quarterbacks on the roster right now. If you're going to compete for a Big Ten championship next year, you absolutely must address the quarterback position. It cannot be Orgy. It cannot be Denigal. It cannot be anybody that's currently on the roster if you're going to be a serious contender for the Big Ten, let alone on the national stage. You got Texas and Quinn Ewers coming to town. You're going to USC, I believe. You're going to Columbus. I think you avoid Penn State, but you also play Washington as
Don't
well,
put Oregon.
who is going to have a depleted
Don't
roster.
put
It's gonna be a tough schedule next year. And the Buckeyes right now, I saw an Instagram post earlier today from all of from On3 and from Joel Klatt show and from RJ Young show. This is just preseason hype and offseason hype. But right now, the Buckeyes look like they'll be ranked number 1 to start the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, not hard to believe. I mean, look what they've done in the portal. Look what they've done in recruiting lately. It is phenomenal. And no, Chef. Ohio State is not mercenary you. They're not
Not mercenary you, but
all
we
about
are
the
about
brother.
to bust some heads in 2024. Better believe that. It's gonna happen. Now, this is all talk right now. This we can talk a big game because we don't have to play any games coming up for 8 months, right? But I do want to say this: that roster is stacked, and just like Michigan was 3 years ago, they're tired of the losing to one particular team. This team is hungry. This team is determined, and they're going to be led by Mr. Will Howard more than likely out of the tunnel for a 2024 campaign that might be remembered forever in Columbus, Ohio.
You know what I think is going to happen in that Michigan game? Peter,
What's
remember
that?
when Jim Trust's speaking engagement and he talked about how he got together with all those seniors came back and they talked about how all the pain they felt from those previous Michigan losses and said, hey, if we're an
Thanks,
opportunity to
man.
go 4th and 1, even at the 50, we're going to do it. We're going to punch them in the gut and we're going to score. They did
Yeah,
that. I think it's going to be that type of game, dude, where all these players who came back, money or not, they're hungry. They want to win. They want to beat Michigan. They want a Big Ten title. They want a national championship. Let's
yes.
go. Bet.
I would never, ever, ever predict a national championship. I think the sport is too unpredictable, especially with a 12-team playoff now. But guess what? I am predicting a Big Ten championship. I absolutely will go on a limb and say the Buckeyes will be your 2024 Big Ten champions. Now, where they fall in the playoffs, we'll find out. Hopefully, it's a first round bye. They get a game in Columbus for the first game. And I can't wait. I mean, we got 8 months to talk about this. We got 8 whole months to talk about what could the Buckeyes be. We're gonna go both of us hopefully to the spring game in April and see what the Buckeyes are trotting out in the silver and gray, in the scarlet and gray. In the horseshoe in come April, so I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for Matt for joining on. Thanks Chef, and thanks Andrew for joining on. We appreciate you guys commenting, and don't forget to like and continue to comment and join the show here. So yeah, we want to continue talking a little bit about Michigan, but of course a little bit about Ohio State as well. We want to talk and address the loaded quarterback room. We already just mentioned Will Howard. He is most likely the starter. I don't think Devin Brown will win the job. What do you think about that, Rob? And what do you think about the incoming transfers
I don't know,
and
man.
recruits?
Okay, so let's look back at history of Ryan Day and his quarterback pursuit. So let's start with his pursuit of Kyle McCord.
Special delivery for Ryan Day. 1, 2, 3. Go blue! Go blue!
Let's come on, you guys. So let's start off with his pursuit of Kyle McCord
Oh
and
God, I don't know how to get out of that.
so how did
There
that
we go.
he spurned JJ McCarthy. He went after Kyle McCord, and look what happened. All right, honestly, I would have preferred JJ McCarthy over McCord. And going forward, let's look at how he went after Quinn Ewers. All right. He wants to go after all these high profile quarterbacks. He went after Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers reclassified to
Yeah.
uh to another year. And then he dips out of Ohio State. It's $1 million NIL. And then what what are they left with? I mean, yeah, they had C.J. Stroud after 2 years, but what
Yeah.
happened? What happened after that? And then he went after he went after Dylan Raiola, another high-profile quarterback. Jaden Smith actually wanted to play for Ohio State. Goes
Mm.
after he commits. Dylan Raiola's decommits. Commits to commits to Georgia. And then Ryan Day comes back crawling to Jaden Smith, but no, it's too late. He goes to Michigan. It wasn't for Aaron Noland, they would like that quarterback class would have been trash. And here's Aaron Noland's on for Ohio. Yet Ryan Day wants 5-star, highly rated quarterback Julian Sane to commit. He got him to commit. So will
Yep.
his beat itself? We'll see. But you know what? I think that Ryan Day has not learned his lesson in terms of that.
That's an interesting point you bring up, Rob. I mean, it is a fair point. So you also have to take into account that Penn State's quarterback, Drew Aller, he wanted to come to Ohio State, grew up a Buckeye fan. Now, I don't think he's the greatest quarterback out there. I don't think he's very good, to be honest. But let's keep in mind he doesn't have very many good weapons like he would have at Ohio State as well. So you got to keep that in mind as well. But he has kind of fumbled the quarterback room the last couple of years. I kind of agree with your point, Rob. It's a strong one. It's a fair one. It's one where you look in the mirror and you say, is this guy really learning his lesson, or is he making the same mistake again?
Here will be the determining factor. Will he run a jet sweep on 4th and 2 when the game's on the line?
Oh,
That'll
Lord Jesus.
if he learned his if he learned his lesson.
Oh, bad memories.
Aaron Noland is all in for the state of Ohio, but yet you're going after another high profile guy. You don't know if he's all in for the state of Ohio. You don't know if he's just committed to Bill O'Brien. You don't know if he's just there for the bag. This dude could be gone next year. What if he's gone next season and then Aaron Noland says, "Okay, I got benched for Julian Sane. I'm out." You're out of 2 quarterbacks.
It very well could happen, and let- I do want to bring up this point, though. However, this is a new era of college football we're entering, where people are getting paid now. People can go from university to university, like Dylan Gabriel. He's been at 3 or 4 universities now, and he's getting the bag at Oregon, even though he should have stayed at Oklahoma. But he got a bigger payday at Oregon, so he went to Oregon. And now we have to face him in the Big Ten, which sounds really strange and really weird. But these guys, we have 5 quarterbacks in the room right now. There's not going to be 5 entering into 2025. A year from now, there won't be 5 quarterbacks in the quarterback room. It just won't happen. So it's going to be either Noland or Sayan that transfers out after the spring game, probably after the starter is determined. And Day's going to have his hands full trying to keep both of them, but he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I was honest with you. I had a lot of mixed feelings when I saw they were going after Julian Sane. Then he got a crystal ball to Ohio State. I'm like, man, here we go again. Here we
Yeah,
go.
it's a real possibility, man. And it gets messy and it gets murky. It really, truly does.
It does, man.
But this is part of what the reality of being a college football fan is like now. We were texting back and forth earlier a little bit, and you were mentioning something about the potential of maybe maybe this should happen to college football. Maybe a developmental league should become a thing. What do you think about that, and what would that look like?
I think that would be a great idea. So this would it look like. So NBA has a G League, MLB has a farm system for players who don't want to go to college and they want to get developed in the minors and they want to get paid at the same time. And you let those college players, those people want to go play college ball,
Yeah.
college just for the scholarship, get an education, maybe have the best 4 years of your life,
Have to actually go to class.
have to actually go to class. You got to go to play some school. So, but, uh, but yeah, I think that each pro team should think about having their own G League, their own farm system. Have a draft for those players who want to opt out of going to college and go play for them, be developed, and then get brought up when it's the right time. Like,
Yeah.
and for those who want to go to college for the right reasons and not to get that bag, like,
Yep.
let them go for the scholarship, just the scholarship. Because
Do you
personally,
think the USFL/XFL league that just combined recently could be that potential landing spot for these players if they make a new rule allowing post high school players to join the football league, or is that just you're too young? We're not doing it. We're a pro league.
I mean, I can imagine there'd be some contract issues and stuff that they
Yeah,
have to tweak, get all the lawyers in the room and stuff. But it could be a possibility. All I know is NIL is just it's not working. It's ruining the game of college football. I know Ohio State has spent, like, what did Lane Kiffin say, $13 million, but like that could be only temporary. The next team could come in next year and buy him out. You know, so I just think that it's really ruining the game of college football.
it's
It's
having a negative effect overall on the sport. I agree. It really does
it,
water down a little bit my interest for the sport. And I'm a passionate football fan. I love the sport of college football. And if something like that were to happen, it would have to be separate from the NCAA. It would have to be a total break off from what we know in the college football world right now. And I really don't want to see that, but I could see the potential for that happening. So that's why I wanted to talk about it tonight because it's a realistic possibility. It's an out there idea, but it's not too far fetched. It's within reality.
yeah. I mean, like, if the MLB and I mean, doesn't the NHL do it as well? And
Yep, they got Toledo
the
Walleye as the
the
Red Wings affiliate,
yeah, the NBA as well. I mean, why can't the NFL do it for these players who just want to opt out of college
especially when
for
it's
the
America's favorite sport. You would think there'd be a developmental league by now already in the year 2024, but there isn't one because college has been that for the majority of time. But now, as things are changing and players are getting paid, it's a whole different world, man. It's a wild, wild west out there. We're going to see these quarterbacks just transferring for the money. And like you mentioned earlier when we were texting and chatting, these running backs and these linebackers, guys that have short shelf lives in the NFL, are going to get paid in college when they know they can get paid because
yeah,
their NFL shelf life is 3 to 5 years.
yeah. I think the average is 5 6 years.
It
I mean,
might be somewhere in that
and
range.
if you're
I
lucky,
heard
10 years.
on the ESPN documentary broke that the average NFL career, maybe it was the NBA career, was 3 years long. And I was like, wow,
Yeah,
that really shocked me.
yeah. I mean, like, anything can happen, man. I mean, you get an injury just like that, and you don't recover. Like, it's over. So
Let me
I
ask you this, getting back on track to the quarterback room about Ohio State. We have Sam, we have Howard, we have Brown for now. We have Aaron Nolan coming in as a true freshman as well. And one other quarterback that I'm blanking on right now. Who's going to be the starter for the Ohio State Buckeyes coming out of the spring, and who's going to be the starter starting game one in Columbus this fall?
I mean, I think if you're talking about experience and just being able to lead a team that's already been proven, I'd say it's Will Howard. If you're,
I don't disagree. He's got the edge and experience. Yes, he's the only three-star quarterback out of the five on the roster right now, but I believe he will be the starter coming out of the spring. But that's why I'm going to the spring game to see what he's got in person with my own eyes, scouted with my own eyes, and see what he's got and see what he can bring to the Buckeye offense. Is he mobile enough to extend plays? Is he accurate downfield? What are his intermediate throws like? I can't wait to find out and see. I still have to watch some of his tape from this past year, the Texas game, and I want to watch the TCU game from 2022 just to see what are we really getting. But it's really a battle between Sand and Nolan for 2025. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, it's really I think it's really battle for saying Nolan, dude. I think Brown and Lincoln they're gonna transfer out, especially due to the next recruiting class coming in. They'll probably get passed up, dude. I just what year were they? What year were Brown and Lincoln? Were they 2023?
Um, I know Brown was this a year younger than Kyle, and then Lincoln Keenholz is a freshman this year.
All right, let's just say it's safe to say that's just another recruiting cycle that they fumbled.
I mean, you're not totally wrong. You're not wrong. I don't think those guys were ever meant to play downs at Ohio State, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, it is going to be interesting, Matt. He comments here. It's going to be interesting to see how Day divides the playing time between the five guys in the spring game, too. No kidding. I mean, there's only 4 quarters in the game. We got 5 QBs. How are you going to split reps? It's so we really need to go to the spring game, get some interviews in, get some live Buckeye fan reactions to the spring game, and just see for ourselves what we have with this 2024 Silver Bullet defense and this fantastic offense coming back, being led by Abuka and probably Will Howard. So we'll see what happens with that, man. I am really excited to see this new rendition. I mean, I can't believe I got to wait 8 months because here's the thing, Rob. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
After the Missouri Cotton Bowl loss, I said, freaking this offseason is going to suck. It's going to suck for 8 months. And it has not sucked. Dude, it has been the most miraculous, joy-giving offseason I've had in a while. And that's coming off 2 straight Buckeye losses. What? Why? Because Harbaugh's gone, JJ's gone, Quorum's gone. And then talking about Ohio State specifically, we've added all these players. We haven't even mentioned Caleb Downs tonight. He led Alabama in tackles with 107 tackles this last year as a freshman. The dude is coming in and is going to start automatically. Let's talk about that for a second. Who is going to start in the secondary? We have so much talent, and one guy coming back who is, in my opinion, not that talented, but that's just my opinion. In your opinion, I know. But who's going to start in the secondary? We know Burke is, of course, and we know Downs is. Like, he has to. So who is going to ride the bench? Is it going to be Ransom?
Dude, I think Ransom should have transferred out, man.
He may transfer after the spring. He may.
Yeah. I think he should have. He'll more than likely transfer after the spring. But I think it's going to be Hancock, Burke, Downs, Styles.
Yep.
It doesn't Knowles run a 3 safety rotation?
Yeah, 3 safeties. Yep.
Downs, Styles, and who do you see filling that 3rd spot?
Probably Matthews.
Yeah. I mean, he's too talented. And I said this
He
before.
did make a big error in the Michigan game where he didn't turn around. He could have picked off that pass and the controversial touchdown. He had his back to the ball. He could have picked it off had he turned his head to the ball. But either way, he's a very talented player. He was just a young buck out there, a young guy. So I'm excited to see what he has to bring to the table and to the field for the Silver Bullet defense in the secondary this season.
I'm just ready. I think Ransom's the last guy from the Barnes Combs era.
Yeah.
So I'm just ready to move on from them. Like
I'm ready. Oh, man, me too, without question, bro. Without question. And here's one last point about the offseason being horrible, turning into a joyous occasion for us Buckeye faithful. When 11 Warriors after losses, let's just be honest, it's a freaking cesspool, man. Nobody needs to go into the comment sections. Nobody needs to have that access to the internet. 11 Warriors should shut down for an hour after losses and then let people on or something like that. But what's up, Dave? We're gonna bring our resident NFL analyst Dave on here in a few minutes. Just a few minutes here. We're gonna wrap up our conversation with Rob here. Any final thoughts on Jim Harbaugh leaving and what that means for Michigan?
Ask that again. I'm sorry, I kind of interrupted
you.
You're
good. Any final thoughts on what Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan behind and what that leaves the Michigan program in?
I mean, man, I think that, dude, I think that means a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
he was their best head coach since Carr.
Better than Bo,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
better than Bo, Michigan legend. 40+ seniors leave. JJ leaves. Who knows who's gonna?
24 players declared for the draft.
Yeah, who knows who's gonna steer the ship? I mean, if you go look at Michigan's hiring records after Carr, it wasn't too good. It wasn't too good at all. I mean, you had Brady Hoke, you had Rich Rodriguez. They completely just tanked the program. And who
Yeah.
knows what's coming with these NCAA sanctions? I mean, we'll have to see. But if I was a betting man, I see a 3-4 loss season in their
I
future.
don't know if I could stretch it to 4 myself. There's scenarios where I could. The defense is going to be phenomenal with Graham and Grant
But
coming back and Will Johnson coming
who's
back.
gonna be the defensive coordinator though?
Who is? Yeah, the scheme might change, and that could
Yeah.
shift everything.
Mm-hmm.
It really could shift a lot. I know Emgo blog, having read it a little bit today, they're praying for John Harbaugh to save Michigan again and send them another young stud defensive coordinator to keep the Baltimore Ravens style defense going in Michigan. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's gonna happen either, dude. No more miracles for
No more favors.
yeah,
Harbaugh, his
no
little
more
bro
favors,
Jimmy
man.
is gone. No more favors to the program
I
in Michigan.
I also heard Ben Herbert may make his way with Harbaugh as well.
I heard that too. I'm not totally convinced, but because a lot of pro athletes have their own trainers in the off season and during the season, so I'm not sure that he would follow Jim to the NFL and LA. But man, LA is a lot nicer than Ann Arbor. I'll tell you that much. Minus the traffic, of course.
Yeah, but just to wrap it up,
Yeah.
Michigan, I would not be so sold on Sharon Moore, Mister.
Nope.
I cry for Harbaugh after being Penn State. Because here's the thing. Again, he took what Jim Harbaugh built, took his roster, had his scheme, just everything that he built from the ground up, and he took it and he won 3 or 4 games. I mean, and Coach Harbaugh was there throughout the week, so I wouldn't be so sold on Sharon Moore. I mean, I just
I'm not
wouldn't.
sold on the man either. I mean, I don't know the man personally, okay, and I don't want to take one moment too far out of context. But it shows a little bit of lack of immaturity and perhaps emotional stability from the man to break down like a blabbering child on national TV after he won a football game. That's just my opinion. It might be a little harsh, might be a little critical, but and maybe it was a tough week in other areas for him. And if it was, I apologize. But if it was just strictly football reasons he was crying for Jim Harbaugh, get over it, dude. Get over it. Well, thanks again for
Hey,
joining,
you know
Rob.
what?
We're gonna
I wonder if anybody will cry for him if he blows it at Michigan and gets fired. We'll see.
MGO blog is vicious, just like 11 Warriors is, man.
Yeah,
They don't play no crap.
yeah, they don't
So
play no.
yeah,
But
it's my OSU talking. Well,
yeah.
if you say so. Let's
All
see.
right, give Mr. Four Falls of Buffalo.
Dave, you're gonna have your moment to talk here in just a second. We'll get you on.
All right.
Thanks again for joining, Rob. We
Yeah,
will
no
see you
problem,
next
man.
Thursday and possibly in between with some other videos. Looking forward to have you on with the promos and some other videos that we'll be doing this week. All right, man. Have a good night, bro. We'll see you later.
All right, definitely later.
Yep. Bye bye now. Okay, so just me for a second. Peter here. Going to be talking the NFL. We're talking the Bills Chiefs a little bit with our resident NFL analyst, Dave. He'll be joining us here just in a second. And it's going to be interesting because I'm not as huge of an NFL fan as I am a college football fan. So he's going to bring some insight and some analysis to what Jim Harbaugh brings to the LA Chargers, what the Bills Chiefs is going to be interesting. We're going to be talking the NFC Championship preview. We're going to be talking the AFC Championship preview with Dave. I can't wait to have Dave on because he's a very knowledgeable and probably even more passionate fan than I am. The man knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. I cannot wait to bring Dave on. We'll get him on here in just a second. It's going to be fascinating. And let me know if it doesn't work, Dave. We will hop off and we'll jump right back on with the live again if it isn't working for you to join the live. So let me know about that, okay? All right. So we have some wonderful topics coming up, possibly talking a little bit of the Lions versus 49ers game. Go Lions. Hope they win. Hope they beat the San Francisco 49ers. They've been there before on that stage, and we don't want to see them on that stage again. We want to see the city of Detroit rocking and representing for the big-time Detroit city. So it'll be interesting to see what is going on with that. Hopefully Dave can join the live. If not, I will have to jump off and go live again and restart this live with my buddy. So let me know, Dave, if you can join the live. If not, I would certainly understand. But the city of Detroit is rocking right now. I mean, I'm on the other side of the state, and you see Lions gear everywhere. It's crazy right now. And so, as I travel back to Detroit on Sunday, it might be a little crazy traffic wise. I didn't even think about that actually before I before before I leave Grand Rapids and travel back to Michigan. What's going on, Dave? I was just talking about how the traffic might be crazy as I drive back from Grand Rapids to Detroit for the game on Sunday.
Well, I don't think you'll be. Oh no, you
Hopefully,
won't.
not too wild, right?
I mean, dude, the game's in. I mean, obviously, the game's in San Francisco. You don't have to worry about that. Traffic is.
Yeah,
The game's not
yeah.
until 6:30, so
Oh,
I think
fair,
you
fair,
will
fair
be
point. The
fine.
game is in San Francisco on the West Coast. You're right.
Yeah, so it's a 3:30 start time out there, so you don't have to worry about
It is
that.
out there. Thank God. Thank God for that. All right,
Yeah.
Dave. Well, thanks for joining the live tonight. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your Bills fandom, how you became a Bills fan.
Well, I became a Bills fan because, well, I am actually from the state of New York. I am not. I am not from Buffalo. Blah blah blah. Whatever. I merely adapted to the Bills Mafia.
Yes.
I
And who wouldn't want
now
to be in
now
the Bills Mafia? Real talk, though. Seriously.
oh, hands down the best fan
Like,
base in the NFL. There is no
best
doubt
fan
that they
base.
are the best.
They go
Um,
crazy in the
and it's not.
tailgates.
Well, see, the thing is, hey, it is not just about the fans in that case. What it is,
Yeah.
it's their I mean, their willingness to give to charity when something happens.
Yeah.
I mean, we know just simply when they made the playoffs back in 2017, they flooded Andy Dalton's charity with money because the uh, the Bengals got an interception that got the Bills to the playoffs. So they just flooded Andy Dalton with
Wow.
I think like $225,000 worth of donations in
Is
like
that
24
so?
hours. Yes, they are very known for being very charitable. In fact, actually, just over the last few days, they have been donating. I know it was over 110,000. I think as of yesterday to a charity that helps like find homes for cats because
Whoa.
Tyler Bass is part of that. Tyler
How
Bass,
about
the
that?
kicker who went wide right in this game, that you know what? It didn't lose the game for the Bills. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, the
Did
field
they
goal did not
really?
lose the game. The field goal did not lose the game.
Yeah, no, it didn't. No way. No
It did
way.
not lose the game because the
People
game
look at
still
that as
had
a
a
finality because it happened at the end of the game, but that's not why they lost.
no. And I've got plenty of notes for what we got here. The people love to think that the Bills franchise is cursed, but you know what? Hey, we are. I can't say we because look, I'm not a member of the team. I never have been a member of the team. I have not played in the NFL, so I am not going to use that "we" term. But
Okay,
the
sure.
Bills are the only team that have ever played in 4 straight Super Bowls. Who cares?
Sure.
If, you know what? Hey, you know what? They lost them. So what? They appeared in 4 straight Super Bowls. That has never happened again, and it will never happen again. I
I
don't think. I
tend to
think the
agree with
game
you.
is now.
It is
The
respectable.
Patriots. The Patriots did get close to there. They had 3, and
Has it
they ended
happened
up
in
losing.
any other sport? Has any other team made it 4 consecutive years? Because I don't think so, but there might have happened
Actually,
before my time.
it did happen before your time, and it actually happened before my time too.
Okay.
The New York Islanders actually won 4 straight NHL Cups from 1980 to 1983. They won. They won
There was a
all. They won all 4 of those in a row.
There was an ESPN documentary about that team or those teams. I remember that. I forget what the documentary was called. I only saw it one time. It was phenomenally well done.
Oh yeah, those 30 for 30s they're quite phenomenal. And
Yeah.
there is one called the Four Falls of Buffalo. There's also
That's phenomenal too.
my favorite is 4 Days in October, where it talks about the Red Sox
Yeah.
beating the
Red
Yankees in
Boston.
2004.
Phenomenal.
There's also the Ghost of Ole Miss. We'll talk about Ole Miss in a little bit
We certainly
as we get
shall.
there, because I
We
am going
will
to be
not neglect Ole Miss.
I am your
My
resident
favorite,
SEC
because I'm a
expert.
college
So
football connoisseur and I'm addicted to the sport. I love the Pony XS SMU 30 for
that is
30.
that is a fantastic
One of my
documentary.
favorites for
That
sure.
one and the U is very interesting as well.
Very well done.
Yeah, I mean they do them
They
very
always
well.
hit home runs. But
We'll
let's
see.
get
We'll see what
into
they
it a
look
little
like in the
bit.
future here.
We heard a little bit about your Bills fandom, and you said it wasn't the field goal that lost in the game, and I fully and completely agree. So, what was it that lost the Bills?
All right,
The football game on Sunday.
I've got a whole thing of notes for you here. So hey, look, going into that game, there was this running back story. There's always a running back story when it comes to any game that, oh, this game is going to be decided by the referees. And boy, did the Bills not have a fun referee for this one. They got Sean Hockley, who is so desperate to be his father. And Bills Mafia knows Sean Hockley is not a great referee, considering the fact that he called an intentional grounding on Josh Allen when there was a clear horse collar during the Eagles game. And
Okay.
we've seen Sean Hockley this year, but I'm not gonna tell you that. Hey, Sean Hockley is one. He's not been very good to the Bills, but at the same time, he's also not very good to road teams where it comes to big games.
Interesting.
So it's very interesting. He's kind of wishy-washy there, but I'm not going to blame this game on him. I don't think it came down to poor officiating. I think the game was pretty well officiated. There are going to be arguments for and against the fumble that went into the end zone by Mecole Hardman that put a touchback that gave the Bills the ball back. We're not here to talk about rule changes, and I don't think the rules need to change. I think that people just have this reaction based thing where they think that, oh, this doesn't benefit somebody, so we've got to change it. I think that rules should help aid the defense in those kinds of regards. We've seen at least, I think, two guys this year now fumble forward into the end zone. We saw the one guy do it, who was running back an interception, and then we saw this one here in the Chiefs and Bills game.
Yeah.
And I'm not, again, the only call that I do have a problem with was about 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and it was a very poorly called pass interference.
Okay,
It
sure.
was called pass interference. The contact, though, was within 5 yards, and it was not actually pass interference.
Legal.
It was a hit. It was a hit to jar a guy off of his line within 5 yards. And you go back, and now this is the problem. You can't review pass interference anymore. The ball is clearly still in Patrick Mahomes' hand. So it's before the ball was passed. So it's within 5 yards. It's not illegal contact.
Right.
It's not holding, and it's not pass interference. So
I'm with you.
There was no penalty to be called there. Now, did it change the game? Not too much, but yes, the Chiefs ended up punting a few plays later. But the difference in where that call happened and the punt was another full minute of game time. I went back and I looked at the drives of that game. There was 9:41 left when they called that pass interference. There was 8:23 left when the Bills got the ball back. So we're talking a minute and almost 20 seconds.
Wow.
That could be used on another drive.
Another potential field goal attempt, yeah.
Another field goal attempt, but also it could have been that maybe the Bills don't try to go deep on first down to Diggs. Maybe they try to dink and dunk a little bit more and try to try to go down the field a
Yeah,
little
nickel and
bit
dime
more.
them a little bit.
Yeah, and now the Chiefs had. Now, when we get to the whole thing with the field goal, people again, Tyler Bass talked about in the beginning of the season that his kicks tend to drift left to right, like a golfer, left to right.
Yeah.
He likes to kick his extra points from the left hash. And it's because they
Okay.
drift like
Okay.
that. That field goal was attempted from the right hash. And you can
It
see
sure
how
was.
far it drifted off. It kicks it from the left hash. We're talking about a tie game. But we're also talking about a tie
That's a good
game.
point.
We talk about a tie game with 1:40 left. The Chiefs still have 2 timeouts, and they still have Patrick Mahomes.
They still got Patty Mahomes.
They
Yep.
still have that. So, you know, what you also don't see behind the scenes here is that going up for that game, the Bills had 4 linebackers suited up for that game.
Okay.
4. They had
Wow.
4, and they had 3 safeties, one of them being Mr. DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, being normally a third stringer, which I still wonder, can the Bills release him at some point? I don't think they can without the PR backlash.
No, I see what you're saying.
He's going to have to force himself into retirement unless he can play in the elite level, and I don't think he can play in the elite level. I think that there's still too much fear, and I mean, hey, rightly so. But the guy died on the field. Okay, the guy died, and they brought him back. So kudos to him for even trying to come back and play
Brave man.
a field again. Now, do I think he should be comeback player of the year? No, come on. Like, he didn't contribute that much. He had like 1 tackle the entire year.
Sure. No, I got you.
I mean,
let's get on this subject a little bit. Moving forward, is Josh Allen the guy? I think he's a great quarterback, but is he the guy to get Buffalo over the hump? And not just the Kansas City hump, but get him to a deeper run in the playoffs. Can he do it? Is he capable of that?
Yeah. Oh, Josh Allen absolutely is the guy for Buffalo. In fact, people want to bring up his turnovers. Okay. Yeah. Oh, so the guy has turnovers, but you know what? He has turnovers in the regular season. He has played 10 playoff games. In those 10 playoff games, he has 21 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Phenomenal stat.
In fact, if it wasn't just a popularity contest at this point, rather than the award being based on merit, he's the MVP this season. You know why he's the MVP this season? He accounted for 86% of the Bills' touchdowns this year. That is 29 passing touchdowns and 15 rushing touchdowns. The Bills had 51 touchdowns.
I didn't realize that.
The Bills had 51 touchdowns this year. He accounted for 44 of them.
That's phenomenal.
86%. He isn't the problem. The failures.
I'm with you.
Hey, the failures from this season, they come in 2 things. There's 2 things that have this issue. First one are injuries that occurred early and often, and ones that happened at the inopportune time. You had Tre'Davious White go down again, which necessitated the trade that brought in, they better keep him, Rasul Douglas, who ended up actually leading the team with 4 interceptions.
Sure.
Then they had Matt Milano go down with a broken leg and a torn ACL in London.
Okay.
Which another mistake they made was leaving for their London game on Friday when Jacksonville had already been there for 10 days. That was very stupid. And then they lost the guy that had replaced Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard, before the Chiefs game. He got hurt in the Pittsburgh game, was not able to go.
Okay.
So, what happened is when Milano went down, that created this hole in the defense that had to be filled by Von Miller having to come back too quickly off of his torn ACL from the year prior.
That's a fair point.
I think, and I know that people are just, he's an elite athlete. He should be able to do all these things. Half of these people have never torn their ACL.
Right.
Tearing an ACL is no joke. It is not cool. I think he had to come back too quickly. Now,
so what are the holes they need to fill then? Like, what do they need to address in the offseason?
Hold on, before you get there, I just want to give you this other thing. There was one more thing. So there was the injuries, but also the fact that Sean McDermott did not hire a defensive coordinator. He called the plays himself this year. Leslie Frazier decided to leave after last year and wanted to take a year off of football, and Sean McDermott not hire a defensive coordinator. Now, he is a defensive guy, but I believe that when a head coach has too many responsibilities, we've seen teams suffer. We've seen it a million times over a season. Especially when you get to the NFL. I think in college you might be able to do it a little bit more. There might be a little bit more input that's available there. But when you get to the NFL, when you're dealing with guys who are paid to be there, sometimes when you have to balance those egos, I think that it's going to be a little bit harder. So you're saying you wanted to ask me, what are some things that the Bills need to do in this offseason? I've
How
got
can they get
3
better?
things. These are 3 things that they can do. First of all, they can lock down Joe Brady as their offensive coordinator. I
Yeah.
don't think that that's a problem now because it seems that the only 2 open NFL jobs left are Seattle and Washington. So I don't think that they have a problem with that.
No, I agree.
And I could see Bill Belichick going to Washington. There's a lot of hires that could possibly go
My
there.
Commanders. Jeez, oh Pete.
Oh, it's not just that. It's the fact that also what I keep hearing from the pundits is how he has a very close connection with Annapolis, the Naval Academy. His father coached there.
Okay.
So he would be kind of in that area again. So there is that kind of lure that he could go there, especially now that Raheem Morris has been hired in Atlanta.
Now so that was made official. Okay, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
that was made official this afternoon. That yes, he is
I
going to
missed
be.
that.
He is now the coach for the Atlanta Falcons. It's Raheem Morris. He was the defensive coordinator for the Rams this last year.
Oh, I
Oh,
see.
by
I
the way,
see.
here's a mind-boggling stat for you that has nothing to do with the Bills. Did you know that every NFL team since 2022 has changed their offensive coordinator?
Every
Every
single team.
single team in the NFL has changed their offensive coordinator since 2022.
It's an
In
offensive-driven
2
league, and we're not
in
producing.
2
Get
seasons,
off the pot.
in 2 seasons, everyone. The last 2, obviously, and
That's
that's
amazing.
incredible. So, number 2, they need to hire a defensive coordinator. I 100% believe that this should be a blast from the past for the team. It should be Jim Schwartz. Now,
Whoa.
he was last the defensive coordinator in Buffalo in 2014. Yes, also famous Lions coach at one point.
Of course.
The only problem is that you have to get him to come from Cleveland. Cleveland does have one heck of a defense.
They
Now it's a
do.
defense. Now it is a defense that just got completely exposed by Houston, so it could kind of help lure him away. Now, when he was the D coordinator in 2014, the Bills had the 4th best defense in the league. In fact, they had a top 5 defense every year that he was a defensive coordinator in Buffalo. They gave up, and I looked it up here, they gave up 289 points in that year. They went 9-7. And if you can even guess who their quarterbacks were in 2014, I will give you money if you could guess who their starting 2 quarterbacks were
The
in
Buffalo
2014.
Bills.
Yes.
Was it somebody named Peterson? Maybe.
It was not Nathan Peterman.
Peterman. That's what I meant. Yeah.
It was worse. And it wasn't worse because nothing could be as bad as Nathan Peterman. Ready for this? Their
Yeah, I'm
starting
ready.
quarterbacks were Kyle Orton and EJ Manuel.
Wow. Now we're talking good college players, Florida State, Purdue, but not good NFL players.
Yes, not guy. And EJ Manuel was a first-round draft pick that they brought in.
Yeah, he was.
Either first or second. I think it was a first. So this was also the season that the Bills sold to
sure
the
did,
current
man.
owners. They sold to the Pagulas in 2014, and so they also brought in a new head coach. So the reason that Schwartz left is because the Bills hired known foot lover Rex Ryan to be their head coach.
Yeah.
And he got rid of Jim Schwartz because he thought that he was the defensive guru, even though him and his brother are nothing like their father. You can go back and look at those teams in the 80s of the Eagles defense. Buddy Ryan was incredible, but Rob and Rex are mere shadows of him. Now that is all if Leslie Frazier doesn't want to come back. I don't think he's going to want to come back. I think apparently there's something between him and Sean that they're not liking. But I want Jim Schwartz back. That's just my personal thing.
So,
the third
are you
thing they
hearing
have to
anything
do-
about that possibility on boards? I don't know if you frequent Buffalo
I-
Bills boards or anything like
I-
that, or on tweets or anything like that.
I don't pay attention to the boards and stuff. I try to kind of keep away from that. It's not a big deal to me. The third thing that they need to do is they've got to cut some payroll, and they have to get younger.
Okay.
They got to cut payroll. They got to get younger. Right now, it says they're currently about $49 million over the projected salary cap. Now, I think that over. And I mean, there's other teams that are one of them that is way over right now is also like, dude, the Saints are $85 million over the cap right now. So there's it's just bad contracts. It's bad contracts.
That's bad roster management.
Now what that means though is that Brandon Beane is going to do some work, and what he does is he takes some of these bigger contracts and he reworks them to create space. You have people getting like dead cap hits and stuff like that. You have guys like Diggs who have a big cap hit. Allen has a big cap hit. And then a player like Von Miller. You're going to see those contracts get reworked. And you're going to see that money become deferred over time. So the cap hit just becomes less this year. I don't see a problem with the Bills like having to deal with the cap. They're gonna fix those things. I think you're gonna see longtime players. You're gonna see Micah Hyde probably leave. He's probably gonna walk as a safety. Dude, he's 33. So he's now. I mean, isn't it weird that I'm 39 myself, and I talk about a 33-year-old like he belongs in a nursing home. I think that they have to bring back players like AJ Epinesa. I think they need to bring back Leonard Floyd. I think Leonard Floyd did an amazing job this year, especially the fact that he didn't get to play with Von Miller. And maybe Gabe Davis. I like Gabe Davis. I think he's got a lot of talent. He does have a problem with drops. But do you get rid of Gabe Davis and maybe try to get younger through free agency, and you can get a guy who's going to be an unrestricted free agent, a guy like a T. Higgins. If you had a T. Higgins and Stephon Diggs out there on those routes, that's pretty nasty out there.
Little weapons for Josh Allen.
I think that Brandon Beane's going to do a great job in the draft. I think he has hit home runs recently. He hit one with Rousseau, and boy, did he hit one with Kincaid.
That's good. I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask, how are the Bills hitting in the draft? Because I don't follow them closely.
They have been hitting in the draft in the last few years. I mean, they hit Gabe Davis in the second round. He had a good year. He is slowly developing. They've been hitting in the draft very well. Those early round picks, and honestly, guys later in the draft, they've hit on some really good picks there. One pick that they did have a couple of years ago that they need to bring back in an effort to get younger, and I don't care how controversial this sounds, they need to go get the punt god back, Matt Araiza, because of the fact that everything he was blacklisted from the league for something that he was proven to not even be a part of.
Sure.
He was given the Trevor Bauer treatment. Trevor Bauer is on my Mets, by the way, because I would love to have him.
Right. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, but I think that they need to bring him back. I mean, because he's 24 and he can punt the ball 75 yards if he needs to. So if you get stuck, he can flip that field.
He's good. He was good.
That's what you need to do. You need a punter who can flip the field.
Special teams are a lot more important than people give it credit for. They truly are.
Absolutely.
Well, let's move along. Keep things moving. Getting away from Bills specific. We know, unfortunately, your team did lose. In a close contest. Let's preview for 2 to 5 minutes the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs taking on the Ravens. Who's going to come out victorious in that? What are some key things in that game matchup that you see?
All right, so funny story real quick before you go there. Did you know, and actually you did know this, but I've actually been looking this up, that the last 5 years that my Bills have been in the playoffs, obviously they've gotten knocked out every year, but the team that knocked them out, lost their next game every time. Every single time lost the next game. That means you know where I'm going with this. I'm taking Baltimore in the game.
Yeah.
Now Baltimore may not have a plethora of them, but I believe that they have more reliable receivers than Kansas City does right now.
Oh, without question.
Because they have Zay Flowers, they have OBJ, they
Yep.
have Bateman, they have a guy like Isaiah Likely who has stepped up huge lately for them, and Mark Andrews practiced in full yesterday. I think Andrews is going to be back for this game. Now, the one thing that I think that Baltimore has definitely also right now that the Bills didn't have last week is a solid linebacking core. People that can shut down a guy like Travis Kelce. And that was the thing. Kelce was able to run wild because the Bills did not have guys who could play. They did not have enough linebackers
That's a good
that could
point.
play in that game. So he has that now. The Ravens have that. Now, even though the Ravens don't have a running game that can really, there's anything to write home about, they do have basically a running back for a quarterback in Lamar Jackson who can, although he doesn't need to gain big yardage with his arm, he gets those big yards with his legs. Patrick doesn't do that as much. Patrick runs around and then just basically waits for the moment where a defense can't cover any longer.
Yeah.
And then he'll find an open guy.
It's true.
He's that kind of player. But Jackson has that ability to run if he needs to. And I think that is going to be the difference. I think that Mark Andrews is going to play. And I am calling 31-20 Baltimore. And of course, the Super Bowl logo color conspiracy lives on.
Right. So Lamar finally gets to his first Super Bowl after all these years now.
Lamar and Josh Allen are in the same draft class.
Yep, they're younger guys, but it seems like they've been in the league for a while because they've been so good for so long.
But Lamar's are also the fact that like last year he was injured. He missed those last 6 games of the year. So he's dealt with a plethora of injuries, which Josh Allen hasn't. So that's kind of the difference.
So we've got the Ravens representing the AFC. Let's switch over to the NFC. We got the Lions. Obviously our home state right now, the state is going crazy. Do you think they have the chance against the 49ers?
Now, they have a chance. They absolutely have a chance. Now, this game comes down to one question. Can Deebo Samuel play?
Ooh.
If he does, you're going to hate me. I think that the Lions are toast if they do. Because Jared Goff is a completely different quarterback on the road than he is at home.
It's a fair point, and I've noticed that.
Now, although Brock Purdy has not played that well, he seems to be a very good game manager, and I think that we all need to remember that the guy was Mr. Irrelevant. He wasn't supposed to be in this position. The guy doesn't even make enough money to to buy his offensive line like the lavish Christmas gifts that you see that he talked about.
Right.
His salary was not that high. I think because our 7th round pick is not going to even make $250K. They're not making that much money.
Right.
Now I don't I think that the 49ers defense is the best one that the Lions have faced since they played the Ravens. And boy, the Ravens put a hurting on the Lions when the Lions came to Baltimore.
They sure did.
Boy, they put an epic beating on them. And I hate it for them. But man, the Lions fans need to not cry about it. Look how far they've come this quickly with Dan Campbell. They're going to be there for years to come.
They're going to be building for sure. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, this is just the beginning for them. I'm hoping that we get to I'm hoping that one day we do get to a Bills Lions Super Bowl. That would be wonderful. In this game, I see the 49ers winning. Now, I do see it as a 2-score game. I see it as a 2-score game, but I see it as a garbage time score that's going to put the game out of reach, essentially.
Really?
I'm going to say 31-21 49ers on this.
Okay, so both games similarly scored. That's interesting. Okay.
I just think that
I
Debo is
don't
the
disagree
big
with
one.
either picks. That's who I'm picking as well. I'm not picking with my heart on this one. I think the teams you selected, the Ravens and the Niners, are going to square off in the Super Bowl. Again, it's just going to be like Jim versus John Harbaugh, except just John is there this year.
But the question is it going to be just like the game was on Christmas where the 49ers got absolutely trucked by
Trounced.
the Ravens?
They did
Now,
too.
I don't think it will be with 2 weeks to prepare. I don't think it'll be the same. I think it'll be
Okay,
closer,
that's
but
good.
you know what? But where does the NFL want their narrative to be? Do they want
Right.
the Mr. Irrelevant to be standing up there, or do they want to see Lamar Jackson finally,
Now, that'll be the
get
question we'll address in a couple of weeks. We'll probably bring you back
there are
on for a
some
Super
big
Bowl
questions
preview.
here. Matt Crawford, MHJ is not going to get to the Bills. There's no way he's going to fall that far in the draft.
Right. That's just facts. There's no way he's falling out of the top 5. That's just not happening.
You know what? I have seen a couple. I've seen a couple where he actually does get to 5.
I mean, I could see him at 5. Yeah,
Now, I think I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to 4 because I think 4 is Arizona. And if you give Kyler Murray him, holy crap! If you give Kyler Murray that weapon, that's a nice weapon to have.
Yeah, he might not switch sports at all. Jeez, oh Pete's, man. That'd be a
Good guy.
phenomenal weapon for him to possess. That's for sure. Well,
It would
one
be
last topic I wanted to bring up before we jump off the live here. This is, mainly a college football show, but we do dabble in other sports as well: women's basketball, men's basketball, NFL, of course, as we've done tonight. But let's talk about a little bit about your Ole Miss Rebels, man. They are bringing back a team for 2024. What are the possibilities for Ole
See,
Miss?
I love that people are going to love the fact that I'm wearing a Bills hat. They're going to wonder, why do you like Ole Miss? Guys, I went to Ole Miss. Okay. I went to Ole Miss. I did not graduate from Ole Miss, but I also did go there when there was a certain big, giant, mouth breathing dummy, a quarterback named Eli Manning. And boy, was he's a hoot. I did actually get to meet him one time, and he was kind of a jerk, but that's okay. Not surprised.
I
Hey, you
remember
asked for
that
my honest
story.
opinion about what we've got coming up this year. Hey, Lane
Yeah.
Kiffin just led this team to their first ever 11-win season in school history. I think
Yes.
he's going to be able to get it again. I think he may be able to get even more wins because I think that they're going to make the playoff. And once again, I got 2 reasons why I think that's going to happen.
Yes. Tell me why.
We're coming to this new version of the SEC, so there's no divisions. So
Sure.
this comes down to 2 things. Again, it is who they don't have to play
Yes.
and who they play at home. Now,
Okay. I'm not familiar with the schedule.
you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to tell you. In this new SEC, again, with these no divisions, they will not be playing Auburn this year.
Okay.
They will not have to play Alabama this year.
Hey.
And they will not have to play Texas.
I thought
this
you were going to
year.
say Texas, man. I didn't see them on the schedule when I looked a
They
while ago.
they also do not have their annual blowout game against the doormat of the SEC with Vandy.
I got you, man.
And their toughest 2 road games are going to be at LSU, who no longer have Jaden Daniels, and they also beat LSU last year at home. They beat them 55-49, I think was the final.
Sounds right.
And it's a classic game. The other toughest road game they're going to have is they're going to have to go to Florida the week before the end of the year. They do go to South Carolina, but South Carolina's not there yet. Florida could be one of the worst teams ever, but it doesn't matter. You got to go to the Swamp.
Swamp is a difficult place to play, for
It's
sure.
not an easy place to play. So
I'm with you. I agree.
Those are their 2 hardest road games, I think.
And who's going to step in at running back, though? I mean, not to rub salt in the wound. That's not what I'm trying to do at all.
Oh, no,
but,
don't
like,
worry.
who's going to step up for you guys?
I'll talk about him in a little bit. Don't worry about that. That little traitor. Hold on. They've done some great things in the portal. They've got they got the Nolan from Texas A&M to come in.
Yes, you're right. Walter Nolan.
our good friend Matt, who refuses to show his face on these kind of things, he actually just keeps sending me recruiting things that said that Ole Miss actually just got an offensive lineman from Washington to the number one offensive lineman in the portal.
The Joe Moore award-winning line.
Yeah, so he's coming to my Rebels. So
okay.
Outside
well, we know the
of,
SEC is one in the trenches, so that's a big pickup.
It is. And I mean, hey, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ole Miss is going to have to go to Arkansas, but I still don't think Arkansas is not there yet. There's like if you have like 4 tiers, you have the SEC. Arkansas is still on that 3rd tier. They're not punching
Gotcha.
up. They're not getting into that in there yet. They're getting there, but they're not there. Now, when they do have a bye week before they play Florida. They also have a bye week after they play LSU, so that's kind of helpful. Now, when I say that the teams that they have at home, this is where it's going to become fun, because not only do they get to host the Egg Bowl, which is the annual just beating of the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
They're going to get Georgia at home right before they go to the Swamp. Then they also have Oklahoma coming into Oxford.
Come on, buddy.
Yes.
Big time matchup.
That is going to be a big time game.
Most expensive home game of the year in Ole Miss Stadium.
Oh yeah. Oh, tickets right now, it says according to ESPN, they're like $194 right now, I think.
Heyo.
That is going to be on October 26th, and that's also coming off the bye after their LSU game. So Ole Miss does have a bye before they play Oklahoma.
Oh,
so
that's
that
beneficial.
Nice. They host Georgia the week before their second bye. So it's Georgia bye week at Florida, Mississippi State.
Here's how I see Ole Miss, man. I kind of see them as a fringe SEC championship game appearance type team. I think they could make it. I truthfully do. I have a part of me that says in the back of the head, Ole Miss might make the SEC championship game. They very well could do it. They have Jackson Dart returning. He's phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of the other running back, but I know it's Bentley the Fourth. That's his name. Yeah, Bentley the Fourth. That is he. He's the guy that was behind Judkins, but they were a 1-2 punch. And I think actually Bentley had maybe a little better year this year. I see Ole Miss as 10-2. That's
10-2.
I'm trying to be. That's exactly what they were this year. I think, but with 10-2 this year, I think with the step backs that you're going to see Alabama possibly take, and I think that Georgia's going to take a step back too.
I was going to mention that.
I think that's going to give Ole Miss a chance to get in that SEC title game at 10-2. And I think and I wouldn't be surprised if you see it as a rematch between Ole Miss and Georgia. Because I don't think anybody can come out of Georgia's schedule. I need to look at Georgia's schedule. I actually haven't looked at that one, so we'll have to see. Because I think actually Georgia does play Alabama.
They do play Bama. I know that for sure.
So Georgia's not going to have an easy. They're not going to have an easy time.
No, they're going to have a loaded roster, and it's going to be between Georgia and Ohio State, who's going to be preseason number 1. But most likely, I'd say Georgia. I'd lean Georgia a little bit, just based on track record. But we'll see, man. I think I don't foresee Ole Miss winning the SEC championship game, however.
Now,
no matter who they play.
I see them getting a title game appearance, and with that, I think it gets them a spot in the playoffs.
It'd be enough.
I think it gets them around to 11 or 12. They can get in there, or even as high as 10, because they could be there again. I mean, because I don't know what we're going to have with the at-larges, where you're going to put them, because there's going to be there's going to be a group of 5 team in there somewhere. You got to put them somewhere into 12. So it's going to happen. Apparently, Matt is asking about Lane Kiffin's Twitter comment about Ohio State and NIL. He wants to know.
Ole Miss is on fire in the portal. Yes, they are. Would love to hear what Dave's thoughts are on Lane Kiffin's Twitter comment about Ohio State and NIL. He said Ohio State spent $13 million on NIL.
Okay, well, first of all, Matt, I do not use the cesspool that is Twitter. So
I don't either, but I did see that on Instagram.
You have to post the comment, because I did not see the comment. You're the one Matt's the one who sends me.
Essentially, Lane Kiffin has got a smart mouth, and I kind of like that about him.
Because
but he said something about
every week.
He said something
Rebuild this every
about
freaking
Ohio
year.
State spending $13 million in NIL to build the best team in college football, a bunch of mercenaries.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, it's kind of true. I mean,
Calling a spade a spade?
I mean, hey, I mean, that's what you did. I mean, you took Quinshon Judkins to a larger payday. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no doubt, that's the reason he left. Okay, there's no
Without question. I don't
without
deny it.
question. Now I didn't know this until I looked it up last night. That actually, apparently, Ole Miss was looking, and Matt again sent me this saying that Jace McClellan was going to come over from Alabama. He's actually declared for the draft. So
Whoa.
Jace McClellan has declared for the draft.
Well,
Instead of he got in the portal and then he decided that he's out. So
I
he is.
see.
So it will be. It's you know what? It's Ulysses Bentley the fourth. That's his name. That's his
Oh,
full name.
yeah.
Ulysses Bentley
Okay.
the fourth. Now Jackson Dart coming back. He's the heart and soul of the offense. The kid is a gamer. He is Chad Kelly with more talent. He is
Ooh.
Swag Kelly with more
Ooh.
talent.
Does he have the swagger of Chad Kelly?
Oh, he's got the swagger of Chad Kelly, but with more
Okay, I'll
talent
have to tune in more at Ole Miss games.
and more focus.
Wow. Oh,
Um,
well, that's key. That's key at quarterback.
the only thing I worry about for you as an Ohio State guy,
Yeah.
coming in and getting Quinshon Judkins. Hey, there were accounts that he apparently stormed into coaches' offices demanding that the offense be changed to suit him more. So
I heard that.
how is he gonna
Key culture
coexist with
fit.
how is he gonna be culture fit with a very good running back like a Trevion Henderson? Like
And a nice guy in
that's
Dallin Hayden that not a lot of people know about, who I was really
my
excited to see
contract.
this year.
Like I
We'll see
feel like
how it pans out. You know, will it disrupt the culture of the locker room, or will
it
it be an
could.
overall net positive? We'll
Yeah.
find out.
I think he went to Ohio State for two reasons. One, it's the NIL. Okay. We're in that, it's the money. Okay. He did that. But I also think that he wanted the name recognition of Ohio State
Sure,
for a better shot at a higher draft pick.
it's a good point, actually.
I think that's what I think that Ohio State doesn't come second to anyone. He'll be going people's stuff. And hey, not with the way that Ryan Day is right now.
Really?
I think that I think it sucks for you because hey, Ryan Day is a good coach. I'll be honest, he is a good coach. The guy
Yeah.
is undefeated against
The
the
rest of
Big
the Big
Ten,
Ten.
the rest of the Big Ten. But you know what the problem is? The problem is the Big Ten is so much of what have you done for me lately? And
Mhm.
if you lose a fourth game in a row to Michigan, he's
Yeah.
fired. He's done. There
Yep.
and that's
He's
he
56 and
will.
8 right now,
Isn't that
and
crazy? The guy's 56-8, and he could be on the hot seat. That blows my
it's a
mind.
wild, mind blowing stat, but it's reality entering 2024, and he knows it. Hence, why he's making all these moves
Yeah,
and staff shakeups and staff changes.
yeah.
Well, we have been on for about an hour and 20 minutes almost. I would love to keep on discussing NFL and college football and the various topics surrounding the sport of football, but we got to jump off. We have had a good time with you, Dave. We will bring you back on hopefully before the Super Bowl, if not before the NFL draft. And
Oh
we'll have
boy.
your thoughts on who Buffalo needs to pursue, who they're looking at, who they brought in, who has visited, and we'll look at my team, Washington, as well as the NFL draft approaches, and just what they need to do and what moves they need to make in the offseason. So thanks for coming on, Dave. We appreciate it. You have a good rest of the night. This has been Buckeyes Battle Cry. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the video. We are live every Thursday night at 9 discussing college football and NFL and various topics in the football landscape. So don't forget to join us again next Thursday live at 9 p.m. here on Buckeyes Battle Cry on YouTube.
Peace out.
Thanks so much, Dave. You have a good night, all right?
See you, man.
Bye.